Welcome back to the Moneyline Grind. We are in the midst of week 3 in the NFL, and rumors have it we've hit our stride. That's because we swept the board Thursday night, hitting both picks and the parlay of the day. Coming after sweeping the board on Monday night, hitting both picks and the parlay. So if we recap, that's back-to-back sweeps, 4-0 on the single plays, and I count the sweeps in just single plays. So if I would have won 2-0 and lost the parlay of the day, that's still considered a sweep. The parlay of the day is for the freaks that just need parlays and just can't grasp the concept of single bets. However, we did hit 2 parlay of the days in a row. Thursday, the single bets, we took Kincaid over 29 and a half reception yards. He finished with 66, killed that line. He was a target all night, it seemed like, and that was just a great read. And then we had Achane over 52 and a half rush yards. He finished with 56. So we just squeezed by. We had luck on our side a little bit there, getting a 3.5 extra yards to get the win. That was a 3-leg, easy money, plus 366. I'm sorry, that was the 2 singles. And then we had the easy money, which was a 3-leg, which was a play off of this, plus 366. We took an alternate over 42 and a half. Then we took an alternate 25 reception yards for Kincaid and an alternate 50 or more rushing yards for Achane. Of course, that hit. And we locked them up. And it feels good. I have to do the math on like where we're at for units and all that. I've just been putting out picks. I don't know if people actually follow how many units we win or if that even matters, because I think this kind of goes up and down, and we finish strong, and we just try to do our best. But I do know for a fact that we are very profitable after the last 2 outings. So let's get into our 2 picks for today. I have a parlay of the day, and then I have an alternate parlay of the day. So if you don't like my lay of the day, I have another one for you. You can either choose either or. But we're gonna go where money knows us best. Saquon Barkley over 16 and a half reception yards. The ever elusive Saquon Barkley coming off a crazy performance. He has 2 regular season career games versus the Rams. One's as a Giant. He had 19 reception yards. And then week 12 last season, he erupts versus the Rams. 4 targets, 4 receptions, 47 reception yards. He had a ton of rushing yards that game as well. I believe the Eagles have a style that feeds itself. When you look at how the Eagles move the football down the field, how many yards per carry they get when they target their tight end, Goddard, they just seem to produce a lot of second and short opportunities, and that's where you normally see some creative plays come out where you can get a screen pass for Barkley or something interesting that you normally will see where you put Barkley in a situation maybe to catch the ball and run with it. And I think the same goes here. We'll see, the Eagles look to play a little strategic because they do have a formidable opponent, so they'll be really strategic with their game plan and the yards per play that they're looking to get here. Just kind of moving the chains is what you want to do when you really respect your opponent, and you don't want to lose, obviously. Rams allow the second fewest yards per catch while allowing 12th fewest completions. It's a little bit of a disparity. So they're allowing some completions. They're in a better half of the league at denying them, but they seem to be short completions. That's okay. We have Saquon Barkley. If we could get the football in his hand with a little bit of space, we could get 17 yards, right? This is Saquon Barkley we're talking about, and this is the same, blocking schemes that he's had the past season. I like to take an opportunity here to just get the ball to a guy in the open field, a guy who is great at yards after a catch and breaking tackles. So we're taking Saquon as our number 1 pick. Number 2 pick, Saquon's former team, and I was a little, I didn't know where to go with my number 2 pick, so I threw the other ideas in the parlays you'll see later. But we went with Wan'Dale Robinson of the New York Giants. 50 or more reception yards. This is plus 111. Average 7 receptions per game for about 99 yards per game in the 2 games this season. We saw him go off last week, showing out versus the Cowboys with 142 receiving yards, including a 50-yard reception. If he just gets one of those this game, we're good. If you look at his last 10 games going back to last season, he's averaging 55.3 reception yards per game, and he's over 50 reception yards in 4 of his last 5. The Chiefs got torched by the Chargers wideouts in week 1 and then went to a slower game plan in week 2 versus the Eagles. I think they come into this game looking to just dominate the time of possession. I think they're going to just try to dominate the ball and keep the Giants defense out there as long as possible, because we're starting to see, I know that's the Giants, but they have some dynamic and explosive opportunities and situations. We saw it against the Cowboys, who have a very weak secondary, but the Chiefs also, nothing too impressive with their defense. Giants have several guys who can make momentum shifting plays, so I really do think the Chiefs are going to try to limit the Giants' offensive time. However, the Giants, I think, can get the Chiefs off of the field. They don't look too dynamic this year. Pacheco really hasn't done anything surprising. It looks like they've gotten Kelsey somewhat involved early. Last season was kind of disappointing, and what he's done this season doesn't really match 2 seasons ago. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure of their running back situation. Worthy, what can he be a contributor? I'm not too sure. I think there's some holes all around. Of course, Patrick Mahomes is Mahomes, and he'll scramble and get you some first downs. But I don't think the Chiefs are as dominant as they once were. And I like, Wandell to get 50 yards. He could get a little 30-yard completion, and we can go from there. Those are my two picks. Can we sweep the board 3 days in a row, or 3 videos in a row? But let's get to the parlays of the day. We've hit our last two parlays of the days, a 6-legger and then a 3-legger. This Sunday, we're going with a 4-legger with a 25% boost, plus 531. Starting off with Justin Jefferson, 60 or more reception yards. I really almost made this one of my picks. Then we're going to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers money line over the Jets. Stevenson, running back of the Patriots, over 40 rushing yards and over 210 passing yards from Caleb Williams. $10 brings you back 63. But today's your lucky day because you get an extra one. Have an alternate parlay. So, like I said, the single plays, if those hit, those we considered sweep. If I split these parlays and hit both single bets, it's still a sweep, just so everybody knows when I make the next video. I'm not trying to lie or cap, as the kids say. These parlays are kind of just like a sprinkle on top. But here we go. 3-legger plus 299, triple your money. Saquon Barkley alternate over 15 reception yards. So if you like the single play, I guess you got to take that. DK Metcalf over 50 reception yards. I think he has a pretty big game this week. And then the alternate total line over 44.5 between the Cowboys and the Bears. Cowboys cannot play defense. The Bears, I've seen Caleb sling it a little bit. I kind of like what I see. And yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Best of luck. Let's keep it going. Let's get this money.